Hey guys, King Kanji here, and I've got a very special guest with me for this video. He is none other than the man who is smashing his channel himself, getting out so much content that you've got to go and check it out, because if you blink you might miss something. It's Geeklist TV. MJ, how are you doing, man?
I am doing great, man. It's been a while since I've been on your channel. Thank you for having me back, bro.
I know, shamefully though, you're in one of the last videos I uploaded, so... So, I mean, it's been a while for you, but as far as my subscribers are concerned and my channel's concerned, it hasn't been that long at all. But anyway, guys, we are covering a very, very sensitive and highly volatile topic. Obviously, there's this information going around about a potential leaked new transformation for Goku. Now, I have got my own theory about what this could be, and I've been discussing it off the video with MJ, and we've come up with some pretty interesting ideas to throw by you. When you saw this potential image of this transformation, what was the first thing that kind of went through your head?
Another recolor? It's probably the first thing that popped up. I mean, the red hair, depending on how the aura is going to look, you know what I mean? Maybe we were teased what the aura is going to look like in the intro.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I mean, it could look pretty cool. That's one of the cool things about Blue, in my opinion, is the aura. The same with Super Saiyan God as well. The same with Rose, you know, the auras. That's what really makes the forms. It really does look like Super Saiyan Blue just with red hair, you know what I mean? It's like, I wasn't really shocked because, as I mentioned to you, I've kind of sensed that they were going to be giving us something new. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people that are as powerful as Goku now, and he's been using the blue form so many times, even in instances when I think he didn't need to, you know what I mean? Like when he was on that ship with the poachers, he went blue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So on and so forth. Just going blue for no reason. I don't need jump previews. I don't need leaks to tell me that it seems like for Goku, I'm not saying for Vegeta, but for Goku, the blue form is being phased out. Like, we already know the blue form isn't the peak of his power. He can stack the Kaio-Ken, which you're going to get into in a little bit. So I wasn't really shocked by it. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, okay, so okay.
I mean, there's a lot of information going around that suggests that he is getting a new form. And I know people are somewhat skeptical to believe that his new form would be on the back of a chocolate wrapper. But, you know, it's not the strangest thing that's ever happened. You know, we always get previews before this thing kind of happens. And, you know, whether it's a painting, whether it's a figure, this time it could be a chocolate, you know? Who's to say? Yeah. Who's to say? Now, we have had other information to help us figure out what this could be. But I have also seen other things that people have been tweeting ever since this information came out, whereas they think that this could be Super Saiyan God fused with Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and, like, you know, kind of put together because of the red hair, but it's still got the blue shape and all this kind of thing. And to me, I don't really buy it, because I've basically been... If they were to bring up that as being a viable point for a new transformation, that's basically what Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan is from the beginning. You know, there isn't... I don't understand how they would do that. Now, my theory, which I've spoken to you about prior to this call, my theory is that from the beginning of this series, we've started to learn about Divine Energy, or God Ki, which is obviously how we got Super Saiyan God in the first place. Now, the next step from that was Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and that was the next key. That was the next, like, domino to knock over in this. Now, after that, we saw the inclusion of Super Saiyan Blue Kaio-Ken. Super Saiyan Blue Kaio-Ken, a lot of people were skeptical of it, but my overall thought of it was, maybe because this is God Ki, it enables him to use Kaio-Ken with Super Saiyan. And that was something that kind of came into my mind. Now, I'm feeling a bit more confident about that the more I think about it. Kaio-Ken is a technique which was taught to him by Kaio-sama, who had originally said, I never learned to master this myself. It was a technique I developed but couldn't use. And so he taught it to Goku and was surprised that Goku could use it. And then obviously has always been a bit where Goku, don't use it too much, you might kill yourself, kind of thing. So Goku has never mastered Kaio-Ken. He can only ever do it for a short amount of time before it tires him out, before it damages his body. We've been reminded of the fact that it damages his body straight after the time he used it in Universe 6 and started, like, you know, feeling the effects of it afterwards. He couldn't fly properly and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, it has been alluded to quite a few times that he's still learning with Kaio-Ken.
Yeah.
In the preview, in the openings to the show, we see Goku power up to blue and then power up to Kaio-Ken, and then we have this red, I don't want to call it a silhouette, but that's basically what it is, but a deep red, blood red silhouette, and then his face pokes through it with this cocky smile, and then withdraws back, and then it blows up and moves on to something else. that implies to me that the transformation that is being speculated about is triggered by Kaio-Ken. This form that we can see in the back of this chocolate wrapper looks to me like it could be mastered Kaio-Ken. So the Kaio-Ken that has finally been cracked, it is merged with this God Ki because it is a God technique and works with this form. And if Goku just learns to level it out properly, he has managed to make this ultimate transformation.
I think there's also the scene with Toppo versus Goku. Whatever Goku has, I think he already has it. We know that Goku uses the Super Saiyan Blue Kaio-Ken against Bergamo. Then when Toppo shows up, he's like, interesting. I wasn't satisfied with the last guy. So how could Goku not be satisfied with this other guy when he literally had to go full power, and then he used a huge ass Kamehameha to defeat him? Unless that wasn't his real full power. He was just saying that to trick the Grand Priest and everyone else, because everyone else thinks that's his full power.
Yeah, they were all exclaiming at the beginning of it, kind of going like, Beerus going, why didn't he use blue from the start, and this kind of thing. But Goku always keeps something in reserve. So one of the other things that you interestingly pulled up, which supports the theory of Kaio-Ken being mastered, why don't you talk about that for a minute?
There's been posters that have dropped showing Goku's back, you know what I mean? And there's been some other info that's been dropped as well. And Herms, Julian, people have done, translations on this. And one of the translations from Julian is, here's God's work / technique was brought to the limit. And in a way, that kind of correlates, if you wanted to make the connection, with the theme song or the new intro, Limit Breaker X Survivor. So there's that. And then there's also that scene when Goku's powering up in his exhibition match, and he's like, I'll show you what I look like when I go past my limits or something.
Yeah.
So there are little subtle connections there and hints of the idea that Goku and the Tournament of Power will go past his limits, and this limit could be this, this new form you're talking about, the whole pure Kaio-Ken form, if you want to call it that,
Well, an interesting kind of idea, which I did think about earlier, is because no matter how far you go, Toriyama does like to nip things from, the past in the series and then bring them back up and kind of go, oh, well, this is what happened with this, whether it's Beerus giving Frieza the order to destroy Planet Vegeta, whether it's, going as far back as Dragon Ball when you had Kami and Piccolo talking to each other at the tournament. It was later evolved into being, they were speaking Namek tongue and this kind of stuff. He likes to pull things up from the past and he likes to redo them. I like the idea that Goku has always been afraid of blowing his body up with Kaio-Ken. Well, this tense back Goku's tense back is his new visual, signifies that something terrible is going to happen, don't miss it. Here is the God's work technique brought to the limit, all this kind of stuff. What happens if this is actually what would have happened had Goku blown up his body? So what if all that power and all that fear that he had of his body about to break was actually just this transformation trying to come out the entire time? This is just pure Kaio-Ken. King Kai doesn't know what was going to happen originally. He put it as a multiplier on his base form, but what happens if he used the technique so much? Would he actually just transform into this new transformation? Could he have achieved this form, but a much weaker form, in the days of when he was fighting Vegeta, when he felt like he was going to destroy his body using this technique? Had he pushed himself to, 100 times Kaio-Ken or whatever, would this have happened? And that is a really interesting kind of way of looking at it, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because one of the things that Kendama everyone talks about is, ki and stuff, how there's Genki, there's Shoki, there's Yuki, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talking about courage and mind and stuff like that. The idea that Goku has always sort of been afraid to go past what his limits were, kind of putting a multiplier on it, and those are kind of like roadblocks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Times 3, times 4, times 10, times 20, you know what I mean? What if, like you said, what if he were to just go all out, and this is the pure Kaio-Ken, kind of like waking up the sleeping beast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of there being roadblocks, it's all out, you know what I mean?
Because this would be the perfect time for him to do it as well. And let's say he hasn't used this form before, he gets to a point in this tournament where he knows. Excuse me. Yeah, he knows that. What if he gets to a point in this tournament where he gets to the realization that it doesn't matter if he blows his body up, because if he doesn't do this, the universe is going to get wiped out anyway. You know, there is no going
Yeah.
back. This is his last fight if he doesn't win it. This is Goku's final fight if he doesn't win. So why doesn't he just go for it and try Kaio-Ken times 100, and all of this divine energy just reacts with it or something and just becomes Mastered Kaio-Ken? Who knows? But that's the perfect opportunity to make sense why he would try it in this instance and never before.
Oh yeah, it definitely would be, because in those instances, even though you could argue this with the Vegeta fight, but in other instances, there's always been ways to look around it. You know, death doesn't mean a thing. You know, there's the Dragon Ball, so on and so forth, right?
Yep.
Or you know, the fact that he was already dead in the Buu arc, so him going all out against Fat Buu, what would have happened was he probably just would have went poof, you know, back to the other world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was kind of always like in a safe zone. Here, he knows that, you know, the Dragon Balls won't be able to bring him back, because we've recently found out the Hakai, once you get erased, you're gone. You know, you don't even go into the afterlife. You know what I mean? You're completely gone. So he knows he's going to be erased. He knows his universe will be erased. This is the perfect opportunity, because the Dragon Balls, into our knowledge, maybe even the Super Dragon Balls won't be able to bring him back. We don't know that of yet. So he doesn't think there's any way he can come back from this. So if he wants to protect, you know, his universe, which he's said to Beerus he will do anything to protect it, this is quote unquote his last fight, at least to his knowledge currently in the arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, you know, it's the perfect opportunity for him to test pilot this thing, because it's the only time he'll ever get to test it without everybody going crazy at him as well, you know? Imagine, like, Chi-Chi or something, like, you know, going, oh, sorry, I'm not coming back. I tried to do Kaio-Ken times 100 and I killed myself. You know, it's just not something he's going to do, like, but in this instance...
Got the dynamic balls, I'll give you the coordinates.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring me back.
Bring me back in time for dinner kind of crap. I don't think it's just going to be another Super Saiyan. Because, I mean, how are they going to explain it? Like, what, this Super Saiyan Blue 2? This Super Saiyan Red? It doesn't make sense. Super Saiyan Rose... they tried to give an explanation in the manga, at least, for why it looked that way when Zamasu guesses, should I say, quote unquote, that this is what it looks like when God achieves a Super Saiyan transformation. You know, this is just what would happen with that. Bullshit an excuse that may be, it is still a reason. There is no reason.
Form, the blue form, to an extent, even though it doesn't make much sense because it was never elaborated on. They say that, and this is more, this actually has an explanation compared to Super Saiyan 3, whereas here he says that this is the power of Super Saiyan God with Super Saiyan or something like that. Yeah, it's never really explained in depth, but they gave us that. What are they going to say here? This is the power of Super Saiyan God with Super Saiyan 2?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. And it just goes red, unbelievably, or it's Super Saiyan Purple next, when you combine the two, like, you know, it's Super Saiyan Burgundy, Super Saiyan Ass Brown, who knows, but, like, you know, it's just, I don't see a logical, viable explanation for this unless it's Kaio-Ken. I mean, the transformation is already red. Finally, like, the last few points to chuck in on this is, one, he always goes back to train with King Kai. He always goes back to train on his planet. So to finally master his technique after all of this time would explain one reason why he always went back, because he always had this longing to finish off learning the Kaio-Ken, to finally, like, you know, master it and be able to go back to Kaio-sama and go, well, thanks for teaching me that, it came in handy. The last point I want to make was that poster was Goku in his base form. Let's just say for a second that it was relevant showing him in his base form. Goku may decide to give up completely using Super Saiyan because he has discovered that mastering Kaio-Ken is much better for him, which gives Vegeta all the rights to the Super Saiyan transformation, and Goku just uses Kaio-Ken from now on, which would explain why he only uses his base form to fight Oob and etc. like that, you know, because there's no need for it, and he just gives up on Super Saiyan. Because, I mean, that's basically what Gohan did. Gohan gave up using Super Saiyan for absolutely ages because he had his ultimate form, you know, and because of that, I mean, who's to say that Goku can't do a similar thing where he just stops using that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. People already had that idea. Remember, people wanted them to just use their base forms and their blue forms. It wasn't up until the Universe 6 arc or the Champa arc that when they brought back the Super Saiyan forms against Frost, Kaba, Magetta, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people had already had the idea of them just sticking to their base forms and their god forms. So doing that here, I mean, yeah, I would buy it.
Yeah, well, everybody, make sure you go and check out MJ's channel. He uploads. You upload daily, don't you?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah,
I
pretty
upload
often.
daily, yeah.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, so if you want consistent uploads, you go to this guy because I mean, like, I'm pretty erratic, but MJ covers as many topics as you can possibly think about. So you've always got something to watch on his channel. Again, daily uploads. You can see this guy every day. I mean, you can come home from anything, stressful day at work, here's some stuff about Dragon Ball, unwind. It's a great experience to go over there. Obviously, this guy's got an amazing personality. You just want to hear him talk and talk and talk because the dude comes out...
Bro, stop. What are you doing?
He comes out with good information. It's always useful stuff. And he's recently broke 10,000 subscribers, so there's a lot of people out there that want to watch him. So go jump on the bandwagon and join MJ on Geeklist TV, and I think that's a pretty good reason to do so. And again, thank you guys for watching. I've had a really good time talking to MJ about this, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the things we've had to say. Share your opinions and comments with us down below to what you think this form could be, or if you think it's just a load of chocolate. If you think it's nothing but chocolate, then let us know that it's nothing but chocolate. Please do. Alright then, guys, well, we'll see you later anyway. Bye!